We move now to Ukraine, whose leader just met with U.S. President Trump last week.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has highlighted the need to attack Russian oil refineries to push Moscow to a ceasefire.
He said on Sunday, Ukraine is striking the refineries almost every day, and this will help bring Russia back to reality. The Ukrainian military is working to destroy critical enterprises that meet the needs of the Russian armed forces. It announced strikes on an oil refinery and a gas processing plant in Russia overnight into Sunday. It added it was also seeking to undermine the military-industrial base to end Moscow's ability to continue the invasion. The Russian Defense Ministry said on Sunday its forces had liberated a settlement in Ukraine's eastern region of Donetsk and another in Zaporizhia in the south. U.S. President Trump said earlier property lines had been defined by war and guts and urged both Russia and Ukraine to stop where they are. Trump plans to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin in Hungary.
Now let's go to NHK World's Nohara Naomichi in Kyiv, who's covering the conflict there. So Naomichi, Zelensky said he held talks with Trump last week to discuss Ukraine's request for U.S. Tomahawk missiles, which is a weapon capable of striking targets inside Russia. But Trump was wary about supplying them, so could this reflect Trump's desire to avoid provoking Russia?
Yes, I believe so. On Sunday, I attended a briefing by President Zelensky, who had just returned to Ukraine. During the briefing, Zelensky said that President Trump publicly stated that America needs Tomahawk missiles. But he said, in my view, he does not want escalation with the Russians until he meets with them. This would suggest that consideration for Russia was part of the reason behind the U.S. stance. In fact, before the phone talks with President Putin, Trump had said he had almost decided about providing the missiles, and Ukraine had high hopes. However, Zelensky does not appear to have lost hope. In interviews with the U.S. media, he said it was good that President Trump didn't say no, but today he didn't say yes either. That said, there is currently no prospect for short-term provision of the missiles. Amid these developments, Zelensky said on Sunday that Ukraine's domestically produced long-range weapons have improved in range and accuracy. So even as it tries to secure Tomahawk missiles, Ukraine is accelerating the development of its own weapons.
Now, Naomichi, Presidents Trump and Putin are set to hold a summit, but what does the Ukrainian side want?
Yes, where Ukraine wants to avoid its U.S. and Russia making critical decisions about its sovereignty without its involvement. Trump is calling on both sides to halt fighting along the current front lines. However, in the Sunday briefing, Zelensky reiterated that Ukraine will not agree to any territorial concessions demanded by Russia. There are also concerns that Putin may pretend to carry out negotiations with the U.S. while continuing attacks on Ukraine, a delaying tactic. Ukraine is expected to continue engaging with European countries to ensure Trump does not get drawn into Russia's influence.